Every morning felt the same. The alarm rang at 5:30 a.m., and I'd roll out of bed, mechanically brushing my teeth, slipping on the same uniform, and heading to the warehouse. Stacks of boxes, steel shelves, forklifts humming. My world was concrete, gray, and unchanging. At 34, I felt like time had outpaced me. Friends from high school posted pictures of beach vacations, shiny new homes, toddlers in cute outfits. Meanwhile, I worked overtime to afford a leaky apartment and a used car with a heater that barely worked. But the worst part wasn't the job or the paycheck. It was the voice inside me, quiet, constant, and cruel. You're not fast enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. I had heard those words since I was a kid. I was the slowest on the track team, the one who got picked last in PE, the one teachers shook their heads at. Over time, I stopped trying altogether. If I never competed, I couldn't fail. That became my protection. Invisibility. One cold afternoon, I was dragging a pallet of paint cans when I heard a voice I hadn't heard in years. "Jason, is that you?" I turned and froze. Mr. Bennett, my high school gym coach. Same gray mustache, same piercing eyes, just older. I hadn't seen him in more than 15 years. He recognized me instantly and gave me a big smile. We talked for a few minutes, and before leaving, he mentioned he was coaching a local community group, training for a marathon. "You should come by," he said. "It's not about speed, it's about heart." I laughed it off. Me, run a marathon? I couldn't even jog to the mailbox without panting. But that night, lying on my mattress, staring at the ceiling fan spinning slowly, something inside me stirred. Maybe it was his words. Maybe it was the way he looked at me like I wasn't broken. The next morning, I stood outside the community center with trembling hands and 1,000 doubts. I almost turned back, but I saw Coach Bennett waving, grinning like it was the most natural thing in the world for me to be there. That moment, it felt like someone had just opened a door in a house I thought was sealed shut. The first run was humiliating. I couldn't make it half a mile without gasping. My legs felt like rubber. My lungs betrayed me, and sweat poured down like punishment. The others in the group, old, young, fit, and struggling like me, cheered me on anyway. No judgment, just quiet encouragement. I hated how weak I felt. I hated how my mind kept screaming quit. But something about Coach Bennett's steady eyes and calm voice kept me lacing up my shoes the next day, and the next. Training didn't make the pain go away. It made me aware of how much I had numbed myself over the years. Every blister, every cramp reminded me that I was alive, that I was choosing this, and that mattered. Coach never pushed me to be faster. He always said, "Jason, just keep going. That's it, just keep going." Some days, I ran alone. Some days, I didn't want to show up at all. But even when I dragged myself out there late, Coach would smile and say, "You showed up. That's half the battle." Weeks passed and I started to feel different. Not stronger maybe, but lighter. I stopped caring about the looks from coworkers when I refused donuts or left work early to train. I was chasing something more important than their approval. I was chasing myself. Race day arrived with nerves crawling up my spine. Standing at the starting line, I didn't feel like the guy who once couldn't jog to the mailbox. I felt like someone who had decided to show up for himself. Finally, the run was long. At mile 12, I wanted to give up. My knees ached, my chest burned. I remembered every insult I had ever internalized, every reason I believed I would never finish anything. But then, out of nowhere, Coach appeared beside me, walking in jeans and holding a bottle of water. He didn't say anything, just gave me a look that said, "You've already won." I cried the last mile, not because of pain, but because something inside me broke loose. The years of fear, of silence, of thinking I wasn't enough. I crossed that finish line with tears streaming down, my legs wobbling, my chest heaving. But I was smiling. I hadn't beaten anyone. I hadn't broken a record. But I had finished. And for the first time in my life, I didn't run away from myself. I ran toward me. In life, we get so obsessed with racing others that we forget our only real race is the one against the version of ourselves that gave up too soon. And when we choose to keep going, even when no one's watching, we find the strength we never thought we had. If this story touched something inside you, share it with someone who needs reminding that their pace doesn't define their worth. Like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more stories that walk beside you through life's quiet battles.